Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast and happy anniversary. This is 1 year anniversary starting this month. And my first guest ever on the podcast was Miss Chellie Phillips. And this was so exciting because guess what? She's back. I'll be back, right? So thank you so much, Chellie. The whole concept of how the Beacon of Light podcast came about was just an incredible, inspirational type of moment. I had been prompted in 2018 when I had listened to Jeff Brown talk about why podcasting is so important and how it can really help and support you. And I got that firm confirmation that I would be doing a podcast one day. But it was really cute because it was like, not yet. So it was true. And it all started in 2020. A year that I had no idea how things were going to even run. And July of 2020, we started this thing. And so this is our happy 1 year anniversary, celebrating for the Beacon of Light. So all you lights out there, I want to see loud and proud type in that word, light, 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 or Beacon of Light. Woohoo, woohoo. Okay, before we get everything started here, I see some people popping up here live. And thank you so much. Tell us where you're from. I am broadcasting tonight from Twin Falls, Idaho. And Miss Chellie Phillips, where are you broadcasting from tonight?
I am just south of Atlanta.
In Miss Georgia, there she is. Okay, well, we're going to drop this down, put up the little video, and pop back in. Y'all, come back now. You hear? Here we go. Here we go. I think if I can punch the button, right? Punch that button.
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
Woo! Now we're here. We're up here live. I love it. Miss Sandra, you are here. Hello, lady, she says. Hello from Rhode Island. I think that's right. I know it's in the East. But Sandra, you correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you so much for popping in here. Again, this is our 1 year celebration anniversary, and I have Miss Chellie Phillips back, and so we're really excited to celebrate this. And you can see her banner behind her. Get noticed, get hired. That's a fun thing to sign. Get noticed, get hired. That is what we're going to be chatting about tonight. So many opportunities in the world today for work. So many. I don't know if you're driving around, but I see help wanted, apply here, apply. It is everywhere. And this gal right here is going to be able to help you know what to do, how to get things going with it. And we're going to talk about a whole mess of stuff. And because it's our celebration anniversary, we have some freebies to give out, free gifts. We have her audiobook free gifts. So people who are sharing, participating, who want the information, free audiobooks for y'all. And I have the codes to prove it. So afterwards, I'm going to be sending those things out. So let's see you guys sharing things loud and proud, get people popping up here. And this is really an exciting time. Okay, Miss Chellie, it is yours. I've got some questions for you.
All right. I'm just excited to be back. And I am so proud of you and how far this podcast has come and all the messages that you've been sharing. And that just kind of ties into this whole thing of branding that we're going to talk about tonight, because everybody's story matters.
That's right. Everyone's story matters. And if you're thinking about, oh yeah, I've heard about story, but I'm not quite clear what branding means. Is that the logo? It's like, what does that mean? Well, let's start off with that first question. Miss Chellie, what is a brand? What does it mean? And why do we need it to get noticed and get hired?
I know it's kind of one of those things you probably don't think of when you're going to go to, start your job search. Like the last thing you're thinking of is, I need a brand. But whether you know it or not, you actually have a brand, whether you're creating it or someone else is creating it for you. So if you stop and think about it about a business, what is a brand that pops in your mind when I think of what's your favorite brand out there? I'll give you just a second to think. But mine, I have two favorite brands that I think of off the top of my head: Heinz ketchup and Hershey's syrup. So Heinz, I am loyal to the end to Heinz ketchup. It's not Hunt's for me. It's not any of these other brands. I like the tangy, the vinegary. I don't like sweet ketchup. So I am going to be brand loyal to Heinz. And Hershey's syrup, there is no other chocolate for me. It's Hershey's syrup. No Nestle Quick, no anything like that. If I'm going to have chocolate milk, it's going to be Hershey's syrup. So what does that show you? Is that those brands matter to us. And they bring about a certain feeling, and they cause you to remember them. And that's what you really want to do in your job search, is to create something that the hiring manager finds so memorable that they can't forget. And it's super easy to do. And it's something that's not taught in school. It's not taught in business class. And it's something that you kind of learn on your own. And it came to me after I had worked in public relations and marketing for over 20 years. And I had my own career search, kind of get thrown in my lap because we had a management change at the organization I work for. And I realized that the old way we looked for a job was not going to work anymore. You're competing against so many people these days because, like, with all the online postings and everything, I'll give you a number that I heard the other day. If someone posts a job online, over 250 people are applying for that one job. And out of that, only about 2% are going to get called for an interview. So you've got to do something that really catches the eye and makes you stand out and makes that cut. And that's what Get Noticed, Get Hired does. It teaches you how to create this career brand so that you become the most memorable person in the job candidate. And the cool thing is that no matter whether you're entry level or whether this is your first job or your fifth job, or you're wanting to change fields after you've worked in an area for a while and decide that this might not be right for me, career branding can work for you at any stage. And it's something that you can grow throughout your entire career.
Wow, the growth on that, the opportunities for so many people. And I love what you said, to make it memorable. And I will tell you, okay, so I was able to listen look at me, listen. There's my signing for you. I was able to listen to Get Noticed, Get Hired, and what Chellie was talking about the brand. So when I would go to my interviews, right, because I left Texas and we moved across country to Idaho. And with all of that move and change, I had many, many different kinds of interviews. And I know what she's talking about, applications, different things. And yeah, I'm in the teaching business, but it is still really important. So with every job that I interviewed with, I signed. That is part of my brand, right? Because I want people to know that I can help and support in many different communication ways, right? Because this was not for a deaf school that I was applying for. So I noticed that in the Get Noticed, Get Hired book about the branding. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to be bold and I'm going to sign in the hearing schools for this. Well, I have to just pop this comment up there from what Sandra says. With so much competition, it is essential to stand out. And so this matches the story. So in this new job interview, and I'm not kidding, the people at the house were packing, putting it into the truck. I threw on a blouse over my work clothes, popped up the video, and I signed through the entire interview. This is a hearing school. It's not a deaf school. And I think what clinched the deal for me to get this new job is that there's one deaf student. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So usually after this process of going through the interviewing with teaching and stuff, it's a 1 month to 2 month, you'll hear later, 24 hours, hired. And I think that was the key. So I am so grateful to Chellie for really thinking, okay, I'm going to go all out and I'm going to sign, even though it's a hearing school. And it was so beneficial to me. So there is a little testimony for y'all. And if you guys want this Get Noticed, Get Hired, this is really an important opportunity for you to understand what the branding is and how to market yourself. What Chellie talks about and speaks about and teaches and coaches is true. So speaking about coaching and teaching, do you have anything besides this book? What do you have for us?
So yeah, I actually have a a program called the Career Accelerator now. And inside that, it's split up into 4 basic modules. The first one is ironically called Get Noticed, Get Hired. Imagine that. Wonder where that came from, right? And it talks through all the things about creating that brand on your resume. We don't use summary statements or objectives anymore. You need to put a personal branding statement on that resume. When you go to write your cover letter, you're going to want some of your personality and some of that brand to show through in that cover letter. You actually have about 7 seconds when somebody starts to read your resume or your cover letter for them to decide that they're either going to like it or toss it in the trash. And so, I mean, you think about it, 7. I mean, you know, like count it down in your head. Like that is super quick for someone to make a first impression on whether you are interviewable or not.
Wow, yeah, that was 7 seconds right there.
Right.
So can I get that information right there? Well, I better be showing my stuff, right?
Exactly. And so we follow that up with our, like I said, our cover letters, our resumes, and how we interview. The thing with interviews today is most of them are kind of behavioral based questions. And so you're going to want your brand to transfer into those questions that you answer as well. That's where you're going to show that your integrity, your problem solving abilities, your achievements, and how you work as a team or how you motivate others. All of these stories are going to be woven into the interview. And you want the things that matter to you and the things that you want to resonate with that hiring manager to be the things that stand out in the way you answer these questions. And so we talk about all of that. The next piece of it is the pathway to promotion, because once you got the job, the next thing is you want to grow in that career. And so we teach you how to interact with your supervisor, how to make it through evaluation periods, how to deal with feedback, both positive and negative, because, you know, sometimes things don't go smooth and you need to know how to adapt and go with those kind of things as well. We also talk about navigating workplace relationships. And I'm not talking about the kind that gets you in trouble. I'm talking about the coworker kind, like, some people come in moody. Some people come in, they've had a bad day. Like, how do you navigate through those different kind of relationships at work? And then how do you cross departments? Maybe you see your next step as being in another department. And so how do you navigate those relationships to make sure that other people are noticing what you're doing and realize that you can be of value or an asset to their team as well? And then when promotions come around, you've got advocates on your side so that you can actually have someone go to bat for you at that interview table. And then we have the successfully ever after piece. And that is truly all about branding. And it really, really focuses on your online brand. And we're going to talk about this a little later before we get off, because I want to make sure that your listeners have something that they can take away, not just the free audiobook or whatever, but they can do something important to make their brand start standing out in as little as 15 seconds. If they'll do this every day, we're going to share that secret before the end of this podcast. But it has a lot to do with your online personality, how you're using LinkedIn, how you're making connections, how you're networking. And then the final piece of it is the thing that I call the mindset matters, the success mindset, because how you think is how you speak, it's how you write, it's how you present yourself. And there is a success mindset. And so one of the things that I think hinders people the most is their lack of confidence. And we teach, because self-confidence is not something you're either born with or not. It is something that you can learn. And when you identify what your strengths are and how they can be of value to an organization, then you're going to portray them in a way that makes you feel confident, and it's going to show that confidence when you're in that interview. So it's a 4-part course, if you want to call it that. Membership site's what I call it. And right now we're running a special where you can try it for 14 days for $1. That's it. Normally the courses sell anywhere from $147 to $297 if you bought them individually. But we've lumped them all together and put them in there, and you can try it right now for 14 days for $1. That means if you wanted to, you could go in and read every ebook, every article, watch every video, try every tip sheet, every workbook, you name it, it's in there, and you can try it all if you got enough time in 14 days to get through it.
Wow, that is mind blowing. And I love what John asks. Will the book or program help soon to be a college student graduate? Is this okay? Okay. Share your story, Miss sorority lady. Share your story here, John. You'll be blown away by this.
So, John, yes, this is actually where the heart of this actually came from. I was a sorority advisor on a college campus in Alabama for over 14 years. And I was the one that dealt mainly with the officers. And so we did a lot of leadership development. They were your high achievers. They were your ones that could manage school and grades and responsibility. So they were your go-to girls in this organization. And what I kept seeing over and over again was they would walk across that stage and get the diploma, and then they left school without a job in their career field that they had chosen. And so you would see more and more of them taking a job as a barista or in retail or something because they had bills to pay. They had college loans that were coming due. So you had to have income. Then the next step of it was they started this job search, this massive job search, and they would get rejected. And then they began to doubt themselves. Like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I didn't learn everything I needed to learn. Maybe there's something wrong with me. So it was eroding their confidence as well as their spirit even, and, like when you start dealing with just negatives, it's hard not to take that and internalize it. And then the final piece of it was that when they finally did get a job in their career field, we realized that their offers were coming in about $6,000 to $8,000 less than what someone who just took a job straight out of college in that field received. Because the people no longer focused on their degree, they were looking at their current experience. And so they were having to really fight and really make it, apparent to them that, yes, I'm in retail now, but I have all these skills that would make me great at XYZ, whatever the job was they really wanted. And if you start out behind, you're going to stay behind because all of your raises, your cost of living increases, all of this kind of stuff are dependent upon your current salary. And so working with them for that many years, and then, of course, like I said, my own job search, it just became a natural progression. They were my first clients, if you want to call them that. I taught them what I knew, and we were able to turn around their job search processes and get them set up so that they were getting those offers before their graduation, and they were able to start once they got that diploma and carry on with successful lives in the careers that they were looking for. So yes, I tell everybody this is a great graduation book. It's a great book for parents because, like I said, the way you job search today is not the way we learn to job search. It is a totally different world, being that the majority of it happens online, at least to some point. Now, a lot of it still has to do with your connections and your networking and learning about opportunities. We dive into that, into the Career Accelerator as well. If you go into the course that we were talking about, how to grow those relationships and how to nurture them. But the thing that you really have to work on is you got to know that you've got this career brand and how to use it in your favor.
Wow. All of those things have really been practiced. So you see, it wasn't just this grand idea that she had and that, well, maybe it'll work. She's put this all into application. She has watched other women take a hold of this and see, wow, we needed to navigate that better. So how did they start to accept part of their branding, and did it start to improve their own self-worth? Like, how did that match together, Chellie?
So, it's one of those things when you start looking at yourself internally and you really have to stop. Let me just say, like what is the thing that you do? If you ask a friend to describe me in 3 words, what would those 3 words be? So it's kind of the same thing. When you start looking at yourself and you're making a list of what are my strengths? What am I really good at? And you start focusing on the good, you quit worrying about that negative side, because when you create your brand, what you're doing is you're coming up with the things that you want a hiring manager to focus on or a recruiter to focus on. You're not worried about the things you can't do. You're wanting to show them, this is me in my best light, and this is how this can benefit your organization. It's almost an if-then statement. If you hire me, I'm bringing all of these skills, and then I'm going to be this benefit to your organization. And so, like for the teachers and y'all, I know y'all do those if-then statements all the time with the equations and different things like that. But it's the same principle when you're working on making yourself most memorable in those interview situations and just basically on the paper applications. You want to be something that's quick, something that's easy to be recognized, and you want to stand out from all these other people that are putting I'm seeking a job in XYZ doing blah, blah, blah. Everybody's seeking a job or they wouldn't be sending their resume out. We already know that. So the key is tell them something they don't know and tell them how it's going to benefit them.
Right. The benefit. What is the result? I know that really when you think about it, if you go shopping for anything, you're looking for a result. You're looking for something that's going to benefit yourself, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't go and get it. There's so many things out there that are like that. And you showed up with the first little example of the Heinz ketchup, right? It benefits you because it's the flavor you like. It's everything that you wanted. So you search for it, got it, accept it, and now you're loyal to it. So I know that sounds silly, but really if we examine ourselves in the same kind of light, we really can then really move forward to get noticed and get hired.
So, yeah, it's just like what you teach people to do. You're going to show the light that's inside of you. And we're doing that by making a brand that makes people talk it and show it in the job place. It's not just in a life circumstance, it's in your career as well. It's the same thing. We want our light to shine through in those areas as much as we want them to shine through in our personal life.
Right, exactly. And I love how the book talks about the strategies of how to stand up. What about that resume question? It's a great one, John. What about that?
Absolutely. So we talked through all the pieces of a resume. And, especially today with you having to post things online, that's one of the things that we really talk about is making sure that you're really strengthening those achievements. When you're talking about your work experience, we want them to have some validation to them. We want you to be able to say, I've accomplished this, or I've turned in a certain percentage increase in something. If you're coming straight out of school, in the book, we talk about how you can use projects that you've done to actually beef up some of your experience. And the thing a lot of people don't think about is your volunteer experience. You can learn a lot of skills while you're volunteering that you're not taught in a classroom. As far as someone that's like in their middle career, or, like looking to move up from a beginning role into mid-management or anything, we talk about identifying leadership traits, team building, how to do all of this kind of stuff, and maybe and showcase yourself as someone who can pull people together and how you can get a team to function and actually have great results for the organization. Because truly what it's all about is you want that hiring manager, when they're sitting in front of you, asking you these questions, you want them to walk away from that interview going, they've got what we need. They're going to increase our bottom line. And this is who we need to hire.
Exactly it. And that point about volunteering is all about experience. I know for myself, once the experience was put into action, my value increased huge because the skill level was actually applied. And I wasn't just a paper theory anymore, right? And that changes so many things. And as a matter of fact,
works on all levels. Like we were talking, like because of COVID and all the stuff that's been going on now, there's so many jobs open right now in like the entertainment and hospitality area, in restaurants and retail and that kind of thing. So if you just think about it, even if your experience, say you're a high school student looking for your summer job and you're making your resume, if your experience is, I showed up on time for all of my appointments, it's time management. They know you're going to be dependable. If you've had a part-time job before and you're looking for a full-time one, if you balanced a cash drawer and you were always within 2% of the total at the end of the day, or you had, like whatever the dollar amount was or whatever. Or if you were a receptionist and you dealt with over 200 calls a day and your job was to make sure that the customer experience, they called it excellent customer service. There's a lot of ways that you can position yourself that can help you in other positions as well. Like that customer service person, they're showing up. They're creating an environment that a customer wants to be in. if you translate that into a sales position, you think about using those same skills on a sales call, or like going out in person and trying to sell somebody a product or a service that your organization offers. So a lot of these things can really translate no matter what level at a career that you're in right now.
Awesome. Awesome. So you've got the free book tonight. You've got the book in many different categories on Amazon. I know it was a bestseller when it first launched, and congratulations on that. I think that is incredible. Also, I see that with the program for 14 days, $1. Are you kidding me? You dip in there. So I'm going to challenge you out there, especially parents who have, this youth group that's out there, and I'm right in the middle of it. I have a 23-year-old. He just turned 23 today. Happy birthday to you, Kellis. Yay. So a 23-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 17-year-old. These 4 are just in this teetering part. And for my son, Kellis, I gave him a few of these tips, and he's now put into the manager position in the rec center where he was. So I'm telling you these stories because I'm like, what did Chellie say? Okay, give it to the kids. and it's just incredible. And so, yeah, John, we have some free books. We've got some codes here tonight that Chellie has been so gracious in giving us. So at the end of the night, those that have been so active, both John and Sandra, I'm going to be able to send those out to you. And anyone else who contacts us after in the replay, if you type in the word replay and free code, we'll connect with you as well, because we want you to have this information. We want, let me just ask this question. When you sit around, sometimes we think, great, I don't have to do anything. But really, you can only sit for so long, right? Work is just a part of what increases our self-esteem, how we can help and serve other people. And I know for a while with the COVID and all of the, I don't even know what it's called. Look at me. Unemployment benefits. Is that part of I never stopped working, so I don't even know what it's talking about. Anyway, the point is that sometimes that gets kind of comfortable, like, well, why should I go and work when it just is coming in? But really, you can see how the esteem and I think how the confidence starts to come less and less. And what happens one day when that check stops and you've taken all this time to not prepare yourself to get noticed or get hired? Maybe Chellie won't have that 14-day for $1 thing anymore. So y'all start to jump on this like right now. Okay. Anything else? Go ahead, Chellie.
No, I was going to say before we sign off, I promised them something that they could do every day that would grow their brand and help them get started in this. And so the number one professional platform right now is LinkedIn. I don't care if you're 18 or if you're 80. If you care about your career, you need to be on LinkedIn right now. Number one, if you apply for a job online or you submit your resume, over 80% of hiring managers or recruiters say the first thing that they're going to do is Google you. That's before they read anything, before they decide whatever. And you want the first thing to pop up is to be something that you control, your branding message that you have. So we want LinkedIn, your profile, to be the first thing that comes up on Google when they Google your name. And this goes back to that. You got 7 seconds to impress. So I'm going to tell you some things that you can do in 15 seconds to get that page ready to impress. All right. First thing is we want you to work on your photos. You need a good, clear headshot, not a shot of you at a bar, at a party, or with a group of people hanging out. You need a really nice, just crisp, clean headshot. You want to be smiling in that picture and not a fake smile. You want the smile that goes up to your eyes too. And, you can do it with trees behind you. You can do it on a, like a blank wall or, something that's kind of muted. You don't have to go pay a photographer. If you've got a friend, a spouse, a kid at home, here, snap me some pictures, do a couple of poses, see which one you're happy with, crop it off, head and shoulders kind of shot, and use that as your headshot. Now, if you don't have anybody to help you, here's another trick. Put it in video mode, prop it up, let it play. You make a couple of poses, look at it, be all happy, and then go snap a still from your video once you get it looking the way you want it. And then you have your own professional photo shoot that you can choose from. Super simple. The other thing that people forget is LinkedIn has a banner image. Like much like a website banner image, you have one on your page as well. You don't want to let that space stay blank because so many people don't use that space. When you have the space, it's going to actually make you stand out even more. You know, put something that shows you working in your career field or something that's related to your career field. This is another one of those, you don't want to waste the space. You know, maybe it's a quote that says something that matters to you. You can use something like that. Just, you know, there's a lot of free programs out there. Canva is one that you can get a free, you know, subscription with. It's super easy to use, and they have some of these templates already built in for you. Use the free version. You don't need to pay for anything, and make your profile start to pop. And those are all something that you can do in just 15 seconds a day.
Okay, I have a question for you to interrupt real quick. So I have another son. I know it's what happens when you have 900 kids. So I have another son that is changing careers from UPS as a package handler, and he's thinking about going back to doing welding. So in something very physical like that, do you think those employers are also looking on LinkedIn? That's my question for you.
Yes, we're seeing that for trades, for professional, for white collar, blue collar, it doesn't matter. They're all looking on there because they've been burned so many times by what they, you know, like they've hired somebody that presented themselves one way, and then when they got them in, they really weren't. So, you know, you're finding people being way cautious and doing as much research as possible on everything that they can do. And so, yes, and what he would want to do if he already has a profile that's like talking about him doing the UPS packing and all this other kind of stuff, he wants to flip that profile now and turn it into what he wants to be doing. He wants to start sharing how he has the skills to do these things. Maybe he can weld at home, or he has some images of or like you find stock photo of somebody welding, and that becomes your banner image that shows this is what I'm interested in, this is what I do. And then we start focusing the summary, which is super incredible important. The headline and the summary are the two most valuable pieces of real estate next to your photo that you have on your profiles. And so you want to build that summary to show this is where my interest is. It's a first person accounting, and it's more like telling a story. You want to have some passion and some emotion and talk about things that matter to you in a way that highlights the skills that you're trying to showcase.
Excellent. Okay, well, we're going to sit down, and I have a meeting with him tonight. We just went over the resume, and we switched up a whole different things and made sure that the welding was the focus. So now with LinkedIn, we're going to get some stock photos, and we're going to put that all up together. Okay, Miss Chellie, you've got us excited over here at the Juke home to see if we can get this boy out there to really be what he wants to be. And so it's just excellent information. I agree. The information and tips, Chellie, thank you so much. Thank you, John, everybody for participating this night. And those that will come back on the replay, please put in that hashtag. And thank you for being a part of the Beacon of Light podcast 1 year anniversary celebration. Thank you so much for Miss Chellie Phillips to come back with a second book. I mean, so like no pressure, but are you going to write a third book so I can have you back for the third anniversary? You know, I'm just saying, but whatever, you know, it's all good. It's all good. No pressure. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this. And Chellie, awesome job. Get out there, get connected. You can see that running banner down there, ChelliePhillips.com. Also look her up on LinkedIn.
I post all that kind of stuff all the time with tips and tricks and all this kind of thing on LinkedIn as well.
And she has some serious stuff there. I'm telling you what, she really gives and gives and gives, and it's incredible. Again, the 14 days for $1, and then after that, altogether $39.
$39 a month. Mm-hmm.
Oh, stay as land.
Drop out whenever you feel like you've got everything you need.
Okay, John, you've got one of those college kids coming right up, so let's get this thing out there and get it going. Thank you so much, everybody, and happy anniversary, Beacon of Light! Woohoo! Thanks, Chellie. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.